boys are wrapping up the roadie in Sin City tonight. The boys, actually, I realize they're both right here. 3 wins in a row, 2 of them on this roadie. The Edmonton Oilers looking to go 3-0 on their road trip as they take on the division rival Las Vegas Golden Knights at T-Mobile Arena tonight. Hello, what up, and welcome to Pre-Gaming with Bordzy, brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the giant for a reason. Joined this evening by my pal, Zach Laing. I laughed, Zach, because earlier today, Oilersnation Every Day, Tyler was obviously traveling. So it was me and Liam. We were looking for one more guest to come on, and Liam kind of has his own bullpen call in one Coombsy. And I said, that's funny because later tonight, I made the signal to my bullpen, Zach Laing, joining me this evening. I called you the Mariano Rivera of pre and post co-host. Zachary, how we doing, brother?
I'm doing good. A little sweaty. Just went grocery shopping. Hair's feeling a little damp. But you know what? The cup of coffee's got a little whiskey in it tonight, and I'm ready to watch some Oilers tonight.
Brother, we are a pre-gaming, so cheers.
Cheers, brother.
Ooh, that feels good. Catching up in the chat. Austin's feeling the same way we are. He says, let's fire it up. Nothing better than a cold beer, some pre-gaming with Bordzy, and an incoming Oilers W. I think beer might be the theme again here. Nice shout out. Mine are right here as well.
Yep, that's
Never
right.
leave the home without
keep
them.
them on
Shout out
hand.
to Odd Company, Nation Beer, Everyday Lager. Get them at both Odd Company locations or liquorconnect.com. And you know, Bo, he must have checked liquorconnect.com because he's in and he says, I'm going to have to go out and grab a Nation Beer before the game. I found them here out in Spruce Grove. Attaboy, Bo. Lance says, put another 2 points on the board. I love Lance, the reckless optimist, in here tonight. Loyal to the oil says, bring on Bordzy. Austin says, Bordzy for Prime Minister. I am not putting my name in the running for that. Anyone who wants to get into politics, you're a psycho as far as I am concerned. But that's a conversation for another day. And then, actually, Mr. Bird says, yay, best sweater ever. Bob Stoffer's in. And he says, how on God's green earth was Bush not selected for Team Canada? So I guess we'll start there before we talk the Edmonton Oilers. I want to preface this with, this is not 100% official and confirmed, but we remember when the Vegas Golden Knights team got leaked. Shout out our boy, Frank Saravalli. It looks like, Brett, pull up the tweet for me. We got what we think is Team Canada's 4 Nations roster confirmed by Darren Dreger, Pierre LeBrun, and Chris Johnston. And it's a little surprising in here as you go through some of the names. The top line, now, once again, projections, people, keep it in your pants. But it's Sam Reinhart, Connor McDavid, and Mitch Marner. Second line, Brad Marchand, Sidney Crosby with Nathan McKinnon. Third line, Brandon Hagel with teammate Braden Point and Mark Stone, who will not be a play-in this evening. Fourth line, and this is where it gets interesting. Sam Bennett, Anthony Cirelli, Travis Konechny, and then, and I love this guy, Seth Jarvis. You go to the deep pairings, Taves Makar, we knew that. Theodore Pietrangelo, we thought we knew that. Josh Morrissey with Edmonton native Colton Parayko and Travis Sanheim. Your goalies, Binnington, Aiden Hill, who is starting tonight against the Edmonton Oilers, and Sam Montembeault. So first, we'll talk, Zachary. Why the hell did the other Zachary not make the team? I'm not seeing my boy Zach Hyman here, but I'm seeing names like Seth Jarvis on here. Zach, I just showed this tweet to you in this roster 3 minutes before we went live, so I want your genuine first reaction. I agree.
It's a roster of players that are very good who are all Canadian. I don't know, man. It's kind of weird. I don't entirely hate it. I can understand the mentality that they're kind of going for. Our boy Jeff Merrick and Greg Wyshynski talked about it a little bit today on the sheet. Jeff Merrick's new show, dailyfaceoff.com. Check that out, 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, Monday to Friday. They were kind of talking about it there and saying how, like, you know, they kind of want to go for this, like, kind of build it more like a hockey team, right? Instead of just building it like a best on best, just get all the best players there and they'll figure it out sort of a thing. But I think there comes a point in time where you kind of have to toe the line a little bit, right? I think the top 6 is totally fine. I don't really have any issue with that. I think most of those guys are to be expected. Brandon Hagel's having a good season. I can understand that. Braden Point, he's very good as well. I'm not shocked that he's on there. Mark Stone has played, 7 games this season? Okay, sure.
I don't know
hurt.
if he'll be healthy for that tournament. You can't bank on anything. Who knows?
Guys, he's on the LTIR until the playoffs. Like, what are we doing here, right? The fourth line, like, I like these players. I don't get me wrong here. Like, I like Sam Bennett. Anthony Cirelli's fine. Travis Konechny, Seth Jarvis, they're fine players, but it's a little bit weird to me. And the blue line too. Like, I don't entirely hate it, but Alex Pietrangelo is not the defenseman that he once was. Colton Parayko is not the defenseman that he once was. I don't know, man. It's a little weird. Like it, and I think this is something that we've heard a lot of conversation about this year when it comes to this Four Nations roster thing. And the thing that I keep coming back to, Bordzy, it feels like there's a lot of recency bias involved here, right? Like, you've heard all of the conversations about the goaltenders. Well, they're just going to get the 3 guys who are kind of the hottest at that point in time and hope for the best. But does track record not play into this? Does what these players have done in the last number of seasons not played into this? Because as far as I'm concerned, I mean, Zach Hyman not being on this roster, a little bit egregious to me. I mean, this is a guy who's put up a hell of a lot of goals in the last number of years playing alongside Connor McDavid. And let's not forget the many moons ago when Chris Kunitz was being dragged onto the Team Canada roster by Sidney Crosby. Like, where the hell's Zach Hyman if you're going to have Chris Kunitz on all of those damn rosters? Because it was the same sort of a thing, right? So I don't know, man. I mean, it's fine. I get it, I guess. Let's see what it's like when it all comes together. I doubt that we probably will still see some tweaks from what we saw here in this roster again. But yeah, Bordzy, I don't know, buddy. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I like your point there. You said it's a roster and it is full of Canadian hockey players. That's for sure. When you talk about a short tournament, and who was it in here, as Jay said, went with the chemistry route, I'd argue maybe you'd want to bring in a Zach Hyman, staple him to Connor McDavid's wing for a quick turnaround tournament. Obviously, Evan Bouchard is not named on that list there. And I thought really the only spot that he could have fit would have been the 7th defenseman, but it's been the same argument. Cale Makar is going to be running that top power play unit, and you got to build it more around there. Obviously, Stuart Skinner, he does not make the goaltending roster, which I would think some recency bias comes into that as well. I see Lance said it's not how I'd make a roster. This feels like a roster that was overthought. I laughed at this from Ping Pong Masters. Said they built it blindfolded. Yeah, they just grabbed a dart and they threw it at the dartboard. Final buzzer. It's about respect, and we get none of them. Yeah, who knows? Number one fan at least has some comedic sense in here. And he says, where is Darnell Nurse? Shocker he wasn't on there, but Darnell has been good this season. Obviously, we'll talk about that a lot more tomorrow morning, or tomorrow afternoon, I should say, on Oilers Nation every day. And hopefully we'll have a confirmed roster for Team Canada in the upcoming Four Nations. Before we talk about the game tonight as well, just wanted to pass along former Golden Knight in one Ryan Reaves. He spoke to the media earlier today, first time talking since his suspension, where he knocked out Darnell for the week. And I saw some discourse, I guess you could say, online. And I just want to ask your opinion on it, Zach, because his quote was directly from Reaves here. I go out there to inflict pain. That's a fact. And it's not going to stop, but I'm going to continue to do it legally. I'm going to keep playing hard, if not harder now, and keep burying guys. The reason this is continuing, the reason I've stuck around so long is I don't take suspensions and I'm not in the box a lot. I try to play within the rules of the game. So when something like that happens and a hit gets away from you, I don't want to see anybody laying on the ice with a head injury. Obviously, he also pointed out that Christmas is canceled in the Revo household this year. Ridiculous, as he was fined $35,000. I think he'll be okay, Revo, but it is just him trying to make a joke. I'm curious your thoughts on the comments. To me, I don't really care about it anymore. Darnell is healthy. Revo, I don't want to even give him my own breath. But the one thing I do know, Zachary, February 1st, when the Oilers rematch with the Toronto Maple Leafs, Revo better be in that lineup for that game. And I am very excited to see the fireworks that go down in that one. Thoughts on Revo? Just, I don't know, really, they're milking this. I guess it's Toronto media. I hope we can all move on now.
I think of that meme from The Office where it's like, you know what? I'm going to blank even harder now. And that's Ryan Reaves right here. You know what? I'm just going to hit guys even harder. Okay, Ryan, you go chase after guys for 7 minutes a night. I don't know. It's whatever. Let it be what it is. He was gonna get asked about it. I'm excited to see what happens, when these two teams meet up again. Darnell Nurse is probably not going to let anybody else fight Ryan Reaves. So I think it's going to be one hell of a scrap whenever that time comes.
It's going to feel like a heavyweight fight. Just like that night, what's going down. They're going to be showing Revo walking in the arena, Nursey walking in the arena. Maybe they'll actually walk out wearing boxing gloves and robes, and who knows. But going to the Oilers now, we just talked about him, Zach Hyman, obviously not going to be on Team Canada's roster. And tonight, he's not going to be on the Edmonton Oilers roster. He's ruled out once again tonight, per coach Chris Knobloch. He's been out of the lineup since October 19th. They played the Ottawa Senators, left in the second period, did not return. Haven't seen him in a while. And there was thought that he would return tonight. Nobby teased us all last week, and that's exactly what he has been doing lately with these injuries, is just dangling the carrot right in front of me. But he will not be going tonight. There is hope that he could play Thursday against the Columbus Blue Jackets when the Edmonton Oilers return home. He has been on this 3-game roadie, which I think is solely because he knew the boys were going to pass through Las Vegas and get an off day during that time frame, which was a smart call on Hyman's part. But he got into full practice yesterday. He got in the optional skate earlier today. This morning should be good news for a guy that I was going to say and had written down. Zach, do you think he's going to make the Team Canada roster? And then I got that bombshell dropped on me earlier today. But Hyman, not going to play tonight, should be back soon. Will be very welcome in the Oilers lineup.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, it's been a tough start to this season for Zach Hyman. I don't think it's gone the way that he's wanted it to go. I don't think it's gone the way the Oilers have wanted it to go. It's been pretty tough to kind of see him. Only 3 goals and 8 points in 20 games so far this season. Whatever monkey hand he used to get that 50-goal season, his luck is all but ran out on that one, right? It's kind of interesting because, it's felt like it's been day to day for like 3 weeks now. And it feels like, he's going to be back soon, 4 to 7 days or 5 to 8 days or whatever the case is. If there was a coach speak index for the NHL, Chris Knobloch, man, you're getting knocked hard for your injury talk about the guys, right? Because it's the same thing with Victor Arvidsson. I mean, we know nothing about what's going on here. I've thought that coaches in the past in Edmonton have been protective and secretive about injuries and stuff like that. But boy, Chris Knobloch and Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson, these guys are a damn vault out there, man. Good luck getting any information about what's going on. So there'll be welcome additions whenever all of them return to the lineup here, or both of them return to the lineup. In the meantime, the boys have to continue to find a way to win hockey games. And credit where it's due here too, Bordzy, because the boys have been doing that, right? You got Podzilla, 3 goals in 3 straight games here tonight. Kasperi Kapanen potted one against the Avalanche on Saturday. They're filling in admirably, and I think that's really, really great to see. Obviously, Podkolzin, we know he's going to stick around there on Leon's wing for the rest of the year, more likely than not. But Connor Brown sliding up, I thought he's looked fine on that second line as well. His offensive game feels better this year. Like, I don't know about you, but it feels like he's more engaged offensively. That's something that's really, really nice to see. So, you know what? I got no doubt that these guys will continue to try to find a way and find ways to win hockey games without them in the lineup.
They have been doing it lately, and it has been everybody on that roster. And you just mentioned it. They were just talking Zach Hyman. I still have no fucking idea what is going on with Victor Arvidsson and with his large injury history and his past where, dude, he's played, I think, over 70 games twice in his entire career. How secretive it's been, I'm very concerned. Also, in the age of being transparent. I laugh because last year I was saying all the time, I think Nobby's being too open and honest with the media, being a rookie head coach. I was like, he's got to start lying more. Well, he's gone all the way down the pendulum over there, and maybe we got to get it back down the middle. But you just mentioned how the Oilers are getting it done, and it's a couple of wingers who they're emerging right now after their struggles this season. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Vasily Podkolzin. Both of them had 3 points in the back-to-back this weekend. Both of them had 2 goals, although Podzilla, he's got 3 in 3 straight games. And Pods, dude, he was the catalyst in Friday night against Utah because He sparked the Oilers offense with their first goal of the game. They were down 2-0, and you know that he's feeling confident when he's going down on a 2-on-1. He's looking off Darnell Nurse, and he decides to fake pass, fire, 5-hole, and beat the goaltender. And then you get to Saturday, he gets rewarded for his hard work in the dirty areas where he has been all season. Stetch throws one on net. Pods knew immediately, threw his hand up to the sky. He knew that one was his goal, but it wasn't just the goal, dude. He drew a penalty in that game. He played a minute 39 on the PK. I pointed out on After Dark, Podzilla was just bodying Nathan McKinnon all over the ice, and it really looks like Pods is feeling himself right now. He's got the confidence to shoot. He's got the confidence to score, right? And I don't know, he's scoring goals, and it's finally matching his work ethic. He's getting rewarded in that blue paint, and he's winning the board battles. He literally packs a knockout punch. We saw that. Don't make me pull up the clip again of Jeremy Lauzon. He's a menace in front of the net. And now, Zach, if you add that Podzilla has confidence scoring the puck, and he's going to start ripping this thing all over the ice, I said, looking off Darnell on a 2-on-1, look out, rest of the NHL, because Pods looks like he is feeling his confidence right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Confidence is so key in athletics, right? Especially at the pro level, right? You know, if you don't have confidence in yourself and your abilities as a player, you're not going to be very productive out there on the field, on the pitch, on the baseball diamond, whatever the case may be. He's clearly feeling confident right now. And you mentioned looking off to take the shot. That was a great sign of things there. It's very evident that Podkolzin is somebody who needed this confidence boost to his game, because he's taken his engagement levels to another level in these last 3 games as well. And that's great to see, right? Because at the end of the day, like, he can show up to practice as early as he wants. He can stay on the ice as late as he wants. He can work as hard as he can to win puck battles on the boards. But if you're playing in the top 6 in the NHL, you've got to be producing. It's at the end of the day, it's a results driven league, and Podkolzin is a great story. Don't get me wrong. I like him. I like the player a lot. I think he fits in really well here in Edmonton and what the team is kind of trying to build right now. I think he fits in well on the top 6 on that second line. But at the end of the day, he's got to be providing results. And again, credit where it's due. That's exactly what he's been doing. So the hope here now is, he can maintain, not a goal per game pace or anything like that, right? But figure out a way to consistently contribute offense at 5-on-5, because that's where the Oilers are really going to need him at his best.
You said he's been producing lately, and apparently he is, it says Davin here, did you read his Russian interview? He's teaching Draisaitl Russian. I'm going to need more confirmation on that. Davin said, Bordzy, did you read his Russian interview? No, I don't know Russian, actually. So I don't know if I can read that, but obviously there's translators. Davin, that's why I got the chat. You can let me know what he said in there. But we talked Pods. He's feeling his confidence. The other guy I mentioned, Ryan Nugent Hopkins, Southpaw's in. He said, Nuge, coach's favorite. He's my favorite as well. And he was huge this weekend, brother. Nuge was huge. Scored the OT winner Friday night in Utah. And how he did it was just classic Nuge. 3-on-3 in his own end. Tries once, tries again, lifts the stick, goes in, death taxes. Nuge low blocker. And then Saturday, dude, he was on his game yet again. He led all forwards in ice time with over 21 minutes. Get this. He played a team high for forwards 4 minutes and 49 seconds shorthanded Saturday night as the Oilers decided to take 5 penalties. And with Nuge on the ice, they did not score a goal against. He also had the assist on the Kasperi Kapanen goal, and then wrapped it all with a neat little bow with the empty netter. It really feels like this 5-day break, Zach, it was good for Pods. It feels like exactly what the doctor ordered for Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. He's playing like vintage Nuge right now, and the confidence is building. You can see it most notably in his shot. It looks better. He's shooting the puck more. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Bordzy's bankroll might involve a Nuge shot prop later tonight, but I'm loving the Nuge lately, and it really feels like he's coming into his own. And we've been waiting all season. We've talked Hyman, we've talked Nuge, we've talked Jeff Skinner. Looks like we're getting the Nuge that we know and love right now.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been turning a corner here, right? Last 10 games played for Nuge, 3 goals, 4 assists, that's 7 points for those counting at home. Quick math, 25 shots on goal, 2.5 per game. Bordzy's bankroll, maybe going to lean into that a little bit later, right? Yeah, it looks like he's starting to turn a corner. And again, this is exactly what the Oilers have needed, right? Because, you've got the injury to Zach Hyman. You've got the injury to Victor Arvidsson. Whoa, geez. Couldn't get that one right for a second there. Seeing him kind of turn into corners is much needed, right? Again, this is an Oilers team that over the last number of years, October and November, are not kind to the Edmonton Oilers for whatever reason. They cannot seem to figure it out early on in the season. And the numbers show over the last few years, man, like December, that's when they start to turn it on. December and January, really strong months. They have a bit of a lull in February. March, April, they hammered down towards the end of the season. Wouldn't shock me in the least if we start to see that here again. And the same breath, too, like as much as Nuge has been firing on all cylinders, Connor McDavid has too. And again, shout out Jeff Merrick for this one here. He was talking, I think it was on yesterday or today's show about McDavid and how yesterday's show, actually, because Jay Woodcroft was on there, former Edmonton Oilers head coach, really good listen there, talking about how we need to do a better job just as fans of the game of hockey of really appreciating Connor McDavid for what he is and just how incredible and game-breaking he is. Well, man, over the last 10 games, he's been doing that as well. 9 goals, 12 assists, 47 shots on goal in those 10 games. He's been firing on all cylinders, and it's great to see Nugent Hopkins picking up his skates a little bit, picking up those boots, and contributing some offense alongside Connor McDavid.
I laughed at this in the chat from Final Buzzer. We talk pods, we talk Nuge. Now he goes, now do Jeff Skinner. That's just fun. No, we're going to save that one for a little bit later in this as well. Final, let's talk about the game tonight, right? Oilers at Vegas. I said to Brett, it was rivalry week in college football this past week, and I could take another rivalry game tonight. Also, Zach, I know you're a college football guy. Did you see how basically every single fight was started over a flag being planted at center field? I think they got to ban flags in college football.
Yeah, man, I couldn't believe it. I've been watching a lot more college ball this year than I have in years past, and I was shocked to see the amount of scraps and brawls after these games, right? Obviously, the biggest one, Michigan with their upset over Ohio State, that big brawl there, players getting pepper sprayed, $100,000 fines for both programs. Very fascinating to see. And, Bob Stauffer kind of floated it on Twitter today, it feels like Vegas is kind of the Oilers' biggest rival these days, right? I mean, yeah, okay, the Calgary Flames. It's
Vancouver in there too.
Yeah, it's the Battle of Alberta. It's the Battle of BC and Alberta. Yeah, I get it. But the Flames stink. The Oilers have wiped them for the last couple of years. The Oilers have managed to handle the Canucks fairly well. Not talking about last regular season, mind you, but they took care of business in the playoffs last year. But man, Vegas, it just seems like there's something else there, right? Goes back to the playoffs 2 years ago with everything with Darnell Nurse and, the fight with Nick Hague and all that kind of stuff. It's an exciting game, man. I'm excited to see what happens out there tonight.
There you go. And you see the head-to-head team comparison. We got a little bit of yellow on the Edmonton Oilers side tonight, and you just mentioned it, that rivalry. Also, Brett pointed out Arizona State planted a scepter in the middle of the field into artificial turf. I also might add as well. But with these two teams, right? Come on now. They've both represented the West in the Stanley Cup Finals the last 2 years. They're the two hands down best teams in the Pacific Division over the last couple of years. And it does feel like we're on a collision course to play in the playoffs yet again this season. Didn't happen last year, but who knows about this year. And they've kind of mirrored each other so far this year. In November, Oilers went 8-4-1. Knights went 7-4-2. Vegas, they're 9-3 at home this season. However, they won 8 in a row at home to start the season, and now they've lost 3 of their last 4 on home ice, most notably a 6-0 shit stomping on Saturday night at the hands of the Utah Hockey Club. Yes, the team that the Edmonton Oilers beat the previous night, but in that 4-game stretch at home, they've been outscored 19-8, but they are still record-wise the 6th best home team in the NHL. Meanwhile, the Oilers on the road, they're the 5th best road record in the entire NHL at 8-3-1. So something's got to give tonight. I'm excited to see how that one goes down. And we only get 4 of these a year right now, but these are good rivalry games, and I am very excited. Let's go now to our need-to-know information, courtesy of our friends from Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because only the finest tasting meat products earn that Wilhauk name, made from 100% pure Alberta beef. Their jerky is aged, seasoned, smoked, and marinated to savory perfection. You can, they gladly fill orders of any size. Find their jerky, sausage, and other products exclusively out of their Leduc location. For more info, go to wilhawkbeefjerky.com. rivalry.com. So starting the evening tonight, the Edmonton Oilers currently sit in the first wild card spot, while the Golden Knights, they occupy the top spot in the Pacific Division. Here you get a look at the Oilers' numbers, 13-9-2. Everything is starting to improve, especially that penalty kill. Can you believe it? 28th in the league. The Oilers, though, with the Golden Knights, they're 5 points behind them, but the Oilers do have one game in hand. And tonight, I know it's only December, but this is a big 4-point swing in the standings. Earlier this year, Vegas won the first matchup of the season, and this one sucked. They won 4-2, but the Oilers had a 2-1 lead heading into the third period. They allowed 3 unanswered goals in the final 10 minutes, 2 of them from Noah Hannafin. And then they'll play again later this month. Final meeting, April 1st, down in Las Vegas, Nevada, where we're going on a nation vacation, people. So get ready for that one. Excuse me, bug in my throat. Zach Hyman, he's not going to play tonight. Practice obviously might play Thursday. Victor Arvidsson, he's going to be out, but the Edmonton Oilers are expected to roll with the same lineup they have for several games in a row. And why not when you're winning? If you ain't broke, do not fix it. Shout out to Brett. There it is on your screen. And then finally, it's Stuart Skinner getting the start. 8-6-2 record on the year. 309 goals against, 887 save percentage. Not great, but in his regular season numbers against the Las Vegas Golden Knights, he's got an 892 and a 295 goals against average. We then move to the Golden Knights side of the coin. And what I wanted to say here is just to start off. So the Oilers had an off day on Sunday. I obviously think that they were out a partying watching football. Maybe they'll have some of that Vegas flu going on this evening. But that also might explain why the Golden Knights have the home record that they do. 9-3-0. Vegas, they played a back-to-back at home this weekend. They beat the Winnipeg Jets 4-3 on Friday. And as I mentioned, lost 6-0 to the Hockey Club on Saturday. Mark Stone is expected to be out once again tonight. He hasn't played since Vegas's last game against the Edmonton Oilers back on November 9th, something like that, I want to say. I believe Zach Whitecloud is expected to be out, and Victor Olofsson is expected to be in the lineup. And finally, Aiden Hill, he's getting the start. 10-4-2 record, 284 goals against with an 894 save percentage. And in his 5 regular season starts against the Oilers, he's 2-2-1 with an 899 and a 264 goals against average. Now, my Sherwood Ford Giant storyline brought to you by Sherwood Ford, the Giants. Tired of dealership hassles? Well, Sherwood Ford in Sherwood Park is all about convenience and upfront pricing with their Giant Deal program. Get clear, no-nonsense pricing on new and used Fords online with all incentives included. Plus, enjoy the ease of mobile service, free pickup and delivery, and same-day or next-day service appointments. So my storyline tonight, this is just a measuring stick game for the Oilers and for the Vegas Golden Knights. Both of these teams, we know, regardless of their struggles at any points, these are both Stanley Cup contenders. As I said, they've both represented the West the past 2 seasons, and this is just best on best, man. I mentioned the Vegas home record, the Oilers road record, the swing in the standings with 4 points, and I think my key to victory, I said it today on ONE, is starting fast because Vegas is going to be on home ice. They just got absolutely shit pumped and embarrassed 6-0 at the hands of the Utah Hockey Club. Not a team. There's never a team you want to lose 6-0 to. I don't think Utah, anything associated with Arizona, is a team that you want to lose that bad to. Apparently, they had hard practices over the weekend on Sunday. They went at it, and they're kind of stressing that the Golden Knights need to turn it around. Division game, expect that building to be allowed. Also, check the crowd. There might be a lot of orange in the stands tonight, and we know Oilers fans always travel well, especially to Vegas. But the start is going to be key for me. Obviously, special teams. I mean, which cliche do you want? But Zachary, what's your storyline this evening heading into this game?
Yeah, I think it's just win, baby. Just
nice.
win. We got to figure out a way. Just go with the old Raiders saying, just win, baby. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? But I think at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? Vegas took game one of the season series earlier back in November. The Oilers are rolling right now. They are playing some of their best hockey that they have this season. You want to finish off a little bit of a road trip with a positive note, right? And what better one is there than going into Vegas and walking out with a win? I can't think of one. Just figure out a way to get it done, boys.
I have gone to Vegas before, and I have walked out with a win, as in being up green in the profit. And I can tell you, it felt pretty good. So I highly do recommend. All right, Bert, let's pull it up. Again, the projected roster for the Edmonton Oilers this evening, and we'll go through it right now. Your top line, the Nuge with Connor McDavid and Kasperi Kapanen. I laugh. We should probably update these so we can, in fact, show his jersey number. I think he's been sticking around long enough. He's number 42 on the ice. Second line, Vasily Podkolzin with Leon Draisaitl and Connor Brown. Third line, there he is, still there. Jeff Skinner with Adam Henrique and Matthias Janmark. More on Janmark. We all see the tweet that went out today with his speed. That was insane. Fourth line, Drake Caggiula with Derek Ryan and Corey Perry. Your deep pairings staying the same as always. Ekholm with Bush, Nurse with Stetch, and Brett Kulak, my boy, with Ty Emerson. So we'll start at the top here. Obviously, Kapanen's going to remain on that top line because Zach Hyman stays out. But Kapanen, dude, for a waiver wire pickup that was looking ready to be playing in the AHL for the foreseeable future, this pickup has worked out gloriously. Shout out to Stan Bowman, Jeff Jackson, and the whole team because he has 2 points in his last 3 games. He's drawn a couple of penalties out there on the ice. He scored his first goal in an Oilers uniform Saturday against Colorado. And I don't know, I kind of gushed about it on After Dark because it's hard to play with guys like Connor McDavid, and it's about finding the quiet areas, the soft spots where McDavid, everyone is so focused on 97. And as Connor rounded that net, he said he shoulder checked like he was merging on the highway, and Kapanen just was in front of the net, didn't rush to go anywhere else. He goes, no, this is the perfect spot right here. And Connor puts it right on his tape. And I think Nobby is starting to trust him more and more. Sorry, Jeff Skinner, because his ice time is continuing to go up and up. Rangers, he played 11-28. Utah, he played 13-13. Colorado, he played 14-13. And, obviously Zach Hyman would be the preferable option. I would like him to be healthy and move Kapanen down the lineup. But as I said, this pickup has worked flawlessly right now. It's working great, and you're just going to use him in spurts. And the way Kapanen's playing right now, Zach, is it's kind of creating a conversation for internal competition when and if Zach Hyman and Victor Arvidsson return, which internal competition is not something we heard a lot this summer and going into preseason. The only competition we had was Noah Philp for Derek Ryan. Noah Philp severely outplayed him, and he still lost out to the spot. Even when Hyman returns and Arvidsson returns, I like Kapanen here for that internal competition, using him in spurts and finding him a spot in the bottom 6. Who knows if that comes at the cost of one Jeff Skinner, but thoughts on Kapanen so far in his Oilers tenure?
Yeah, I thought he's looked fine out there. I don't think he's been doing too much, and I think that's probably a good thing. 4 games in, just don't make many mistakes out there. This is a guy who, at the end of the day, this is still a talented player, right? He had some really good years in Toronto and Pittsburgh, 2018-19, 20 goals, 44 points, and 78 games played that year. He had a few solid seasons in Pittsburgh. What was really interesting, too, was hearing, Chris Knobloch kind of saying that they had actually had internal discussions this summer about Kapanen as a player to potentially target and bring into the team this year. I've liked him. I thought he's looked fine. I do think that having some internal competition is a good thing, and it's a healthy thing for organizations to have. I'm not entirely sure if Kasperi Kapanen's going to be taking Zach Hyman's spot when he returns to the lineup here, right? At the end of the day, it is Zach Hyman and it is Kasperi Kapanen. One of these guys was claimed off of waivers this season, right? So at the end of the day, though, what it might do is it might bump somebody like Corey Perry out of the lineup. Mm-hmm. And maybe it becomes a situation where it becomes a bit of a rotation on that fourth line, right? Corey Perry plays a couple of games, Kapanen comes in for a couple of games, and it kind of goes back and forth that way. It's not to say that I've thought Corey Perry has been bad or anything this season, because I've actually really liked his game. He's been productive in his last 10 games, 2 goals, 4 points, 10 shots on goal. But at the end of the day, like, he's not a young man anymore. He's the ripe old age of 39 years old. Sorry to anybody in their 30s that's in the chat hearing me talk about this, like Corey Perry is ready for a retirement home. In the world of hockey, he's ready for the retirement home. You're all still very young in your 30s. Don't ever forget that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I think it might be a good thing to have, Corey Perry kind of rotating in and out of the lineup moving forward. Same thing with Derek Ryan too, right? I think it's time to get Noah Philp up here or pretty soon and get some fresher, younger legs that can play with a little bit more speed. And I think Kapanen's somebody who can do that well down there on that fourth line when Zach Hyman comes back.
I like the idea of you and I chirping people in their 30s because we are both at the ripe age of 29 and about to join that very club. But speaking of 30-year-olds and saying no to Father Time, I mentioned it off the hop there. Did you see this today, that our boy Matthias Janmark is the fastest skater in the entire NHL this season? He logged a speed of 24.36 miles per hour against Colorado on Saturday. That's the top speed all season, and it said it's the second top speed behind Denis Gurianov, who hit 24.6 miles per hour on August 16th, 2021. So I say this has me interested to watch the Oilers skills competition when they do it at whatever point in the year. I want to see Janmark versus McDavid, the matchup I'm sure we all thought was going to go that way. But Janmark, dude, this is just a great highlight and a great stat that highlights the good season he's had so far. He was rewarded for his awesome play in the playoffs, got a 3-year deal above $1 million, and I've loved everything about Janmark. He's got 10 points on the year. He had 6 points specifically in the month of November. Dude, he's great on the PK, and honestly, that's where he's like getting offensive chances consistently. It's starting to carry over from the playoffs where they were scoring shorthanded goals left, right, and center. Like, I can remember the one couple games ago where he wins the race all the way down to the left side of the boards, goes around the net, feeds Darnell Nurse shorthanded, and he walks in and snipes. And that's all off of effort, being a high hockey IQ and using your speed. Matthias Janmark, this is just, Zach, an awesome stat for a guy who's having an awesome year so far.
Haha, Janmark go burr. That was cool to see. I know there was a clip floating around about the shift too. And man, he was absolutely flying out there as well on it. So yeah, really cool to see. This is somebody that's always played with speed, and it's something that's been talked about so much this season about, the Edmonton Oilers are older and they're slower and rah, rah, rah. There's ways that you can play fast in hockey without necessarily having to have, quick foot speed. The nice thing is Matthias Janmark's got it. So pretty cool to see him getting that recognition. I mean, that's some pretty impressive feat.
I don't think if you put truth serum in every single person in this chat right now, nobody ever thought Matthias Janmark was going to be the fastest player in the NHL this whole season. Also, I laughed. Lance said, Yaremchuk is absolutely in shambles about Janmark. Yep, I'm sure he is. He does cheer for him, but it's funny just with the year that Janmark's having so far. Also, just a lowercase S is in and says, Bordzy, I love the sweatshirt. Thank you. I love you too. Throw it on your courtesy. One guy, when we talk about Kapanen, right? You mentioned how maybe him and Corey Perry will play in spurts on that fourth line. I do not think it will happen, but I'm seeing it being discussed online. We have to have our daily game day Jeff Skinner discussion. And also, it's not going great for him. He's $2,000 lighter in his wallet because he just got fined for embellishment. He was actually warned on October 22nd against Carolina to no, stop diving. He did it again, and bang, he gets a $2,000 fine. I think Jeff Skinner has looked better recently. He's been around it more offensively, but it's the same discussion we continue to have over and over. I need to see some results, and I need to see more consistency in the defensive end. But one area I do want to talk about before we move along, we only got 20 more minutes here. Special teams, making special plays for just special players, man, because lately that has been the key to the Edmonton Oilers. It was the story for the first 15 games of the year, and not in a good way. A struggling, lifeless-looking Edmonton Oilers power play and a PK fall-off that needed to be studied from the Stanley Cup Finals. But then all of a sudden, they've become the strength of this team all of a sudden, Zach. And special teams is winning the Edmonton Oilers hockey games right now. They beat Utah because of the power play. They got 2 late ones there in the second period. Bang, bang, before the end of the period. They're back into it. And yes, against Colorado, their penalty kill streak was broken. They had killed off 17 straight. They were shorthanded 5 times in that game against the Colorado Avalanche offense. They stopped them 4 out of the 5. They allowed the first one, and then boom, cold turkey, no more goals for you, Avalanche. And they were awesome. They completely stopped any momentum or scoring chances, any chance at a comeback for the Colorado Avalanche because of that. And Nobby said it himself. I got a quote from him. Special teams are very important, and that is ultimately what wins and loses games. Tonight, Oilers going to be in tough. They got to play the Knights' 5th-ranked power play, but they do have the 21st ranked penalty kill. Zachary, special teams is going to be huge tonight.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I mean, it's going to be a key for the Edmonton Oilers now and moving forward to continuing to it's going to be a key for the Edmonton Oilers moving forward to continue getting it going on the special teams. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to see some applause in the chat for me being able to complete a full sentence here. Very proud of myself for that one. Thank you all. But yes, it's great to see, right? This is what we've been needing from the Edmonton Oilers. We've needed the power play to get going. We've needed some damn saves on the penalty kill. You know, it's really interesting because even through all of these issues on the penalty kill for the Edmonton Oilers this season, the issue is that they just cannot get a save. Like if you look at any of their metrics in terms of giving up chances and shots and high danger looks when they're on the penalty kill, the Oilers grade out as like one of, if not the best teams in the entire NHL on the penalty kill, which is crazy to see because through like the first 14 games of the season, they had like the 2nd worst penalty kill of all time to start a season. It was that bad. But the reason was the Oilers just couldn't get a save. Well, now their Oilers aren't letting other teams get any shots on goal. And you know what? That's going to work too, right? You know, we talk about the penalty kill and what do the goaltenders really need? They need to be able to predict things. They need to know where the shots are coming from. And even though the Oilers will still let some shots through, it feels like that's kind of what's happening here now, right? Where the goaltenders, Calvin Pickard, Stu Skinner, they're knowing where things are coming from. It allows them to prepare and get ready to get to a certain spot, to make a certain save on a certain shot. And that's really what the Oilers need there. On the power play, I mean, boy, it looks like those 5 days off really did the Oilers wonder, right? Because they are flying out there on the power play again, just like they have in years past. And that's another really great thing to see here for this Edmonton Oilers side.
Bo is in. He asks, yeah, but what are the power play and PK rankings over the last month? I can't tell you the rankings, but over the last 10 games, power play 22.2%, PK 91.7%, brother. We like that from the Edmonton Oilers. Let's go now to our starting goaltender report brought to you by Sherwood Power Sports and Marine. Hit the trails this winter and the waves next summer. As fellow hockey fans, the team at Sherwood Power Sports Marine are helping Oilers Nation fans gear up. They're home of an ATV for just $50 bi-weekly, or you can cruise the open water for as low as $105 bi-weekly. Get a boat, people. Sherwood Power Sports Marine are hockey fans helping hockey fans get ready for their next adventure with motorcycles, quads, e-bikes, boats, and scooters. So pull it up here for me, Brett. I think we got it. The tail of the tape between the two goaltenders. Okay, just show me Stu. We got Stu in here. I think we have Calvin Pickard as well. But going to be another big test for Stu. Zach, I want to give you credit because I even turned it into a clip. You tweeted out Stuart Skinner's numbers when he hits December, when he hits January, and the bump that comes. I love you and your graphs, brother, because they make me feel smart. But obviously, Saturday's win against Colorado, it was a big one, right? And you talk about the teams that Stu's beaten lately. The Rangers offense, the Colorado offense, and he's looked damn good in both of those games. Also, a highlight for me, we talk about needing these save, and Saturday night against Colorado, Stu just owned Nathan McKinnon. You could pick multiple saves, but I'd say the one in the dead slot, and Stu just windmill glove saved on his ass. It was fantastic. So we're going to look for a big bounce back game from Stu tonight. On the other side, Aiden Hill. Yes, he's going to be on Team Canada from the reports we saw earlier. He only has, I shouldn't say only, a 284 goals against with an 894 save percentage. I would love that improvement in Stuart Skinner's numbers, but he's 10-4-2. Zachary, just your kind of general thoughts on the goalie battle this evening between, I was hoping they'd be teammates on Team Canada, but it looks like Stu is the odd man out.
Yeah, you know what? It is what it is there, right? What can you do? I mean, I don't really know if there's any goaltenders that necessarily like deserve to be on the Team Canada roster. I think you can make an argument for a good half dozen, maybe even 8 guys that really could be on this roster. I wasn't really expecting Skinner to land on it. We'll see what happens tomorrow when it comes out. But it's been nice to see him kind of turning his game around here a little bit, right? You know, it feels like, again, he's one of these guys who kind of has slow starts to the season and then really starts to turn things on in December. You know, for him, 2-game little winning streak here. I thought he's looked really good in these last couple of games up against the Rangers and up against the Avalanche. 952 save percentage between those 2 games. You know, even if you go back to his last 5, you know, 899 save percentage, it's not great, but it's trending in the right direction, right? And I think that's what's really important to see here from Stuart Skinner. Again, another one of these guys who needs to play confidently, right? So hopefully he has a little bit of that right now. He should, because of that win against Colorado Avalanche. He had a great game that night. Big reason why the Oilers were able to walk out with the win there. So pretty interesting to see, you know, what was going on with him and what's happening now and where things can go from here.
Final buzzers in. He says, I don't think one season of Stu data can add up to a trend, but Stu is doing fine. The graph just had last year, but you look to the other previous December as well. His numbers went up. Is 2 years a trend? I await your response. Final buzzer. Let's also, I see this from Cody. He asked, where do I get that shirt? Fun fact, Cody, I bought this in an Arizona bar right outside the Mullet Arena, live on the air during one of our nation vacations last year. A stranger walked into the bar and live on the show, I offered him $20 for one of these shirts. And I got to say, $20 for this was an absolute steal. It's one of the best purchases I've ever made. So I don't know, go to Arizona, or I'm sure you can find them on like Etsy, maybe something like that. You know, one of those Temu places. You can find crappy shirts in there as well. Let's go now to the Edmonton Oilers, Las Vegas Golden Knights lineup report brought to you by Greta Bar Yeg, because Greta is where Oilers Nation loves to party, home and away. It's a great spot for pre and post game. We will be there for Oilers Nation viewing parties throughout the season. Check out the great street food menu, games in the arcade, weekly drink specials, because Greta Bar is the place to be. Greta Bar, let the games begin. All right, pull it up for me here, Bert. The projected Las Vegas Golden Knights lineup this evening. Top line, Ivan Barbashev with Jack Eichel and Pavel Dorofeyev. Second line, Tomas Hertl with Nicholas Roy and Keegan Colasar. Brett Howden, who has 10 goals on the year with 1 assist. Sniper with William Karlsson and Victor Olofsson. Fourth line, Tanner Pearson with Cole Schwindt and Alexander Holtz. Then your D pairings, Braden McNabb with Shea Theodore, Noah Hannafin with Alex Pietrangelo, and Nicholas Hegg with Caden Korzak. You know, it's a damn shame because I used to love Alex Pietrangelo. Like I really, really did. And ever since trying to lumberjack Leon Draisaitl's handoff, I just can't cheer for the dude, and I'm not going to be able to do it on Team Canada. But Vegas's numbers this year, Brett, can you pull up the head-to-head comparison? Because I'll give you their rankings with their numbers this year. They are 7th in the NHL in goals per game. They are 6th in shots. They're 5th in power play. They're 6th in shooting percentage. They're 11th in the face-off dot. Those are all basically top 10 offensive numbers. The only area that you could argue that this team is, and I'll use my youth here, mid, would be in the defensive area. They're 18th in goals allowed, 17th in shots allowed, 21st on the penalty kill, still better than the Edmonton Oilers. But however, unfortunately, they are second in penalty minutes in the entire NHL. And I don't know, you look at this team, that's championship DNA. But Zachary, one big loss for them. It's their leader. It's Mark Stone, and he hasn't played in 12 hockey games. We kind of talked about it off the hop, and obviously we all want to make jokes, right, about LTIR. Are they going to put him back to it at what point? But this dude just cannot stay healthy for the life of him. If his life depended on it, he just can't find a way to do it. He did practice. He has been practicing. It looks like he shall return soon, but I don't know. It's tough when this guy's your leader and you're paying him all this money, Zach, and you don't know from month to month how many games this dude is going to play, and he's kind of a big swing in this lineup. I am very happy he is not going to be playing this evening.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a great player, right? He's somebody who has been one of the best players in the NHL for a very long time. Anytime he's out of the lineup, the opposing team is going to be happy about that. You know, it's pretty interesting when you look at this Golden Knights lineup. Yeah, he does always find a way to get healthy. Fancy that, eh? I don't know what's up with that. It's kind of interesting. League should look into that. You know, it's kind of interesting when you look at this Vegas Golden Knights lineup here because their offense is really almost exclusively coming through their top line on a consistent basis. Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Pavel Dorofeyev. These guys have been great for him so far this season. Eichel continuing to show why he was deserving of being the second overall pick behind Connor McDavid. You know, it's interesting when you dig into the numbers a little bit too. Their third line contributing solidly offensively. You know, they're scoring a little bit more than maybe they're expected to right now. But this second line for the Vegas Golden Knights, looking at their numbers this season, they've scored only 1.2 goals for per hour against 3.7 expected goals for per hour. This is something we talk about a lot on the DFO DFS report, show that I help host or co-host 5 days a week at 2:30 Mountain Standard Time, Daily Faceoff YouTube channel, Daily Faceoff Fantasy YouTube channel, mind you. Go drop a like and subscribe, show some love on our new channel there. This second line for the Golden Knights, they are very, very due for some offense. And of all of the Golden Knights lineups tonight, they have the best matchup going up against the Oilers. Expect to see most of their ice time against the first and third lines. So that's kind of the line that I'm going to be keeping my eye on here tonight, right? You got Thomas Hertl, Nick Waugh, Keegan Kolesar. Kolesar, you know, bit of a tough guy out there, right? He's not really a big shooter, scorer, or anything like that. Nick Waugh, on the other hand, he's a guy who can put the puck in the net. And obviously, there's still Thomas Hertl there. I still can't believe that he's a Vegas Golden Knight. That trade last year was still so shocking to me. But 4 goals and 2 assists in Hertl's last 10 games. That's the line that I'm really keeping an eye on tonight. It's obvious that you have to keep an eye on that top line of the Vegas Golden Knights, considering how well they do drive play. This second line, though, going to be an interesting one to watch tonight.
Yeah, I'm looking at that. Just seeing Hertl and Hannafin on that roster just really pisses me off, man. This team, they find a way. But you mentioned it, Ivan Barbashev, dude, he's quietly having a point per game season. He's got 27 points in 25 games. He's got 12 goals. Dorofeyev, he also has 12 goals on that top line. And, oh, yeah, Jack Eichel as well. He looks like, I mean, who knows? We know his injury history as well. But I feel like this could be the first year that Jack Eichel surpasses 100 points in a season. All right, let's move now. Let's talk bets, brother, because it's time for Bordzy's Bankroll, brought to you by Bet365. Proud partner of Pre-Gaming with Bordzy. Open an account with Bet365 today and bet on a huge range of markets. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Use code NATION and download the app as well. Also, Mikhail drives in and says Brett Howden is about to be the third best Brett tonight. I'm going to assume that's Brett Kulak and our producer, Brett Holden. Shouts out also, as we see on our screens. So this is what I'm rocking with tonight. I actually remembered to place my bets for once. Probably what happens when the game starts at 8 p.m. I got a lot of time to kill. First one, Connor, 2+ points. He's got 10 points over his last 5 games. I can do that math. That's 2 a game. He also has 22 shots over his last 5 games. You could go for the McDavid shot prop. Over 3.5 is currently at -105 as well. I went with the points just because I think he could be addition. And this second one, this is what I'm about, and I think I'm going to be about this for a couple games in a row. The nude shot prop, over 2.5, +125. He's hit this in his last 3 games, and he's just looked like a different player in those last couple games. He's got goals in back-to-back. You can also maybe just go on a point with Nuge tonight, but I went with the shots. Death taxes and Nuge going low blocker. And final one, I'm bringing it back. This one made me profit a lot last year, and I talked about it on ONE today that last year, Bush had 35 power play points on the year. Right now, he has 5. And without a doubt, he gets the most touches on the power play. He's the quarterback. It runs through him. And I'm looking at that Vegas PK, 21st in the league. The Oilers been heating up lately. +250 was too juicy for me to say no. So I'm looking at a Bush power play point. Actually parlayed all 3 of these together, but you can't get a power play point but I grabbed a Boosh regular point. I think it was like plus 500, something like that. So we're rolling tonight. We're hoping, we're praying. We're also doing it responsibly, only betting what we are willing to lose. That's what we do here at Bet365. Zachary, which of these three bets do you like the most? And do you have any shekels on a couple of bets this evening?
Well, you know what? I like all three of them, Bordzy, to be totally honest with you. I love your analysis on these. You always seem to nail them. McDavid's absolutely rolling right now, 2+ points. It feels like it's getting back to that point in time where you just lay money on that every single night because you know that thing's hitting more often than not. 2.5 shots on goal, like that spot for the Nuge as well. Don't mind the Bouchard power play point either, right? I mean, the Oilers power play has had some struggles so far this season. The Oilers don't necessarily have a great power play matchup going up against a fairly decent Vegas Golden Knights penalty kill tonight. If you're a little scared of the power play point there, you could always take Bouch just to get a single point at any point tonight. Minus 155, a little bit of juice on that one. If that doesn't scare you away. No outright bets for me tonight, but there is a couple of players that I'm kind of keying in on that I'd love to see produce some offense tonight. Adam Henrique and Jeff Skinner, both plus 375 to score an anytime goal on Bet365. If you want to get just a single point for Skinner, that's plus 155. I don't mind that whatsoever. I talked about it the other week with you and Pat on one of these shows, talking about how I think Skinner is a really good fit on that third line as an offensive driver, playing alongside Adam Henrique, Connor Brown, or Matthias Janmark. So I like that third line tonight to see if they can get involved offensively as well.
I like the Jeff Skinner point there. I also like his shot prop this evening. He's consistently been around 2-3 shots, maybe 4 for the last stretch of games here. And we know Skin Dog, that is his game. All right. Before we get in and I say goodbye to all of our sponsors and whatnot, I do have to mention a Christmas sweater because hope will never die. Come on now, get a look at that bad boy when Brett pulls it up because, come on, it's the holiday spirit. Time to get it on. It is a fantastic sweater. I saw somebody tweeted us and they said at their Christmas party, their work Christmas party, someone was wearing this. And shout out to whoever that guy was. You can get this at nationgear.ca, where also, I believe, it says in my notes, in my spreadsheet, that comes from sales. The My City collection on nationgear.ca. I'm told to keep this going until December 6th. So you still got a couple days. Obviously, you see on your screen, 15% off, shipping over 200. Go check out nationgear.ca. And who knows when that promo runs out. Remember, you can then use Bordzy 10 and go back to getting 10% off with all your orders, courtesy of your boy over here. Yeah, look at that My City collection, dude. Those things are sick. I bought one of these for my buddy's birthday. Shout out to him. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out Brandon. I'm the best man in his wedding. Final one also. Southpaw's in and says that's good odds for a Bouch power play point. I said he's only got 5 power play points on the year. I'm trying to speak this and bet this one into existence and start rolling here because, as I said, he's the QB of this power play. Zachary, and it applies to the chat. Levi, he's ahead of me. He says 3-2 Oil with a Rico goal. Zachary, score prediction and an anytime goal score.
Love the Rico one here tonight. I could use him as well. I'm going to go with a 4-1 Edmonton Oilers win. And since he took Rico, I'm going to take Jeff Skinner.
Nice. I'm going to take another under the radar one because his odds, it's not the best odds betting wise, but I believe Liam said today he was the 3rd lowest odds to score a goal. Connor Brown. I think Connor Brown has been looking better and better on that second line. He just looks more confident. It's funny because now with Robertson and who knows whenever he's going to come back, you're looking at Connor Brown, the top 6, and you're like, yeah, this makes sense. This does kind of feel like a fit. Maybe not the perfect fit. Then I laughed today and I was like, yeah, this is kind of what I expected last season. We're just 365 days behind, but I am not complaining. All right, that'll do it for us for pre-gaming. Remember to join us for Oilersnation After Dark right here on the ON YouTube right after the game. Me, Zach, Brett, Holden, breaking it all down. Big division game tonight. 4-point swing in those Pacific Division standings. Big shuts out to our sponsors, Assured for the Giant, Assured Power Sports Marine, Greta Bar Yeg, Bet365, Wilhawk Beef Jerky, Odd Company, and come on, go down to nationgear.ca, get yourself merched up. All right, come on, it's the holiday season. I also ordered my Christmas sweater this weekend, so I'm excited to get that one. I love you all. Good luck out there on the Bet365 Battlegrounds, and we'll catch you right here, right after the game.